What?
Hi, guys.
Like, are we recording?
Hi,
Hi.
everybody.
Hi.
Hi. So, I'm back. I know it's very rare for me to do two lives in one day, but uh, Nancy and I uh, planned on doing a live yesterday, but we had some stuff that we needed to take care of business wise that ran a little bit late, and we just didn't want to rush the live. So we really sat today and we really mapped out. And we both believe in reoccurring themes. Hey, bets. And there's a reoccurring theme that our clients are constantly saying to us. And they're constantly saying, I'm having trouble creating content. So this goes for network marketers, this goes for business coaches. I can't and we can't stress to you guys enough the importance of creating your own content. If you don't create your own content, you will have no business. And Nancy made a great point the other day. She said to someone, she goes, listen, putting out some content is better than putting out no content. And it's the truth. But there are three ways to really making sure that you are creating the right kind of content. So, Nancy, how do we create content?
Well, actually, I think this live is about why you should create content, right? We're talking about why you should create your own content.
How and why?
Yep, how and why. So,
Your own.
yes, your own. So, I am so stinking passionate about this topic. And honestly, and that's why I kind of like brought it back there because I'm like, no, 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 no. Like, of course, we're going to tell you how to create the content, but I think it's important for us to touch on why it's important to create your own content. And I'm going to share with you guys, something that I read, and I don't know how many of you out here have heard of him, but a marketer. He does a lot of online marketing and everything. His name is Neil Patel. He is phenomenal. I've been following him for years and he's just pumping out value. I mean, this guy actually, he even said in a podcast he struggles to ask for stuff. He's just always so used to just his number one thing is to give value. So, anyway, whenever he said in one of his articles, it was why you need to create your own content. And the first thing is you're positioning yourself, right, to be that expert, to speak to your audience in a way where it's really going to build the know, like, and trust factor, right? So he said every single day of the week, you're going to get what you pay for, right? When you sign up or you start working with someone. The other thing is that he said in the article was if you don't have anything useful to say, don't say it at all. Right. And he said so many companies are out there, and this is what's getting them in trouble. And this is what's getting a lot of you guys in trouble is you say, oh, I got to create all this content. What's the quickest way I can do it? And it's not good. Okay. There are certain things that people are doing. They're taking bots, right, to go through and scrape content, based on a certain industry. People are buying PLR, which is, private label. They can basically go and repurpose a bunch of blog posts or whatever. They're being disingenuine. They're just finding content or they're hiring someone else to do it. And guess what? Your audience knows. Okay. When you're able to speak from your heart and you're actually able to share your own personal, stories, when you're able to connect with your clients and you're able to have those conversations, that's when you build the know, like, and trust factor. And that's when your business starts growing. So I just really love, again, telling my clients about this because we started, and of course, we're going to kind of touch base on that, but like we started BYOB Agency, and one of the services that we offer is called our Time to Grow program, which specifically helps entrepreneurs, network marketers, busy professionals create their own content. Okay. It's a collaborative effort. We just give you an amazing platform to do it on. So, anyway, reeling it back in, Neil Patel again says, it's almost like when your mom says, nothing, if you have nothing good to say, don't say it at all. If you have nothing valuable to say, then don't say it at all. But you need to start thinking about your people. What do they want to hear? Put yourself in their shoes, Think about your audience. Think about their pain points. Think about when they wake up in the morning. Here's an exercise for you. So next time you're stuck, right? And you're like, "Ugh, I don't know what to write about." Put yourself in your target audience's shoes from when they wake up in the morning until they go to bed at night. What are their pain points? What are they going through, right? What do you have that can help solve their problems, right? What are things that you can write about? And it might not directly be related exactly to that product or service that you offer, but it's going to help you build that, right? That value because you're sharing things that they totally relate and resonate with. And you're able to go from there. So those are just off the top of my head, just some thoughts. So
For me, it's all about quality over quantity. And it's so easy to just schedule out a ton of shit and just
shit, that's what it is.
it's garbage.
Yeah.
We see so much poo-poo garbage on social media. It's the most generic, basic stuff. Everyone's like, "Oh, I'm just going to go on. I'm going to search Motivational Monday. Have a great day." And you put the people are craving genuine, authentic, real, value-added content. Nancy will tell you, and she doesn't know how I do it, but I am a content machine because like this, these are all notes of content that I've written just over the last couple months because I do exactly what Nancy just said. And I talk to her all the time about this. I always put myself in the shoes of that network marketer, of that struggling business coach that had a failed business launch or isn't getting the right engagement or whatever it is. And I'm like, what can I create? What podcast episode can I record? What post could I put out there that's going to speak to them? Because Nancy said it best, too many people are posting things about what they want to talk about, not what their audience actually wants to hear. So that brings us to the question that you always have for us. Well, then how do I do that? How do I create my own content that's genuine and it's authentic? Because doesn't it take hours and hours and hours? No. There's 3 steps. Number 1, plan time to do it. If you want to provide value-added content, you have to plan the time to do it. If you what is it? If you don't have a plan, or you have to,
What gets scheduled gets done.
or the fail to plan to fail. Like if you don't have a plan, then you're planning to fail, or something. Whatever it is. So Nancy, the first step. Plan time to do this. How important is it to actually sit down and just plan what you want to do?
Yeah, it's it's incredibly important. And the thing is I think a lot of us go, oh, it's the months keep running into each other, right? It's already what, October 6th? Cannot believe it. But the months start to run into each other. And if you don't make it a point to put some time in your calendar, I'll give myself, for example, if I don't block out the second week in that month, if you plan to fail, you plan
That's
to fail.
it.
Thank you,
if
Allison.
If you fail to
That's
plan,
it.
you plan to fail. Thank you, Allison.
So if I don't put that in my calendar and protect those 2 hours to plan out the content for the upcoming month, guess what's going to happen? The next month is going to come scooching along, right? And I'm knees deep into October and I'm like, and I'm scrambling for what to post each and every day in October. But when you take that time, that protected 2 hours, and I always say 2 hours, just give yourself breathing room and do some different exercises, right? To really, get clear on what content you want to create for the upcoming month. This 2 hours of your time is going to save so much stress and anxiety, right? You are going to feel so much better whenever you actually know what you're going to plan for each week. You have I always tell people, do content buckets, right? So I started to write down, I actually have my notes upstairs, but content can only do 5 things. It's entertain, educate, inspire, and then there's 2 other ones, but I didn't write it down. But anyway, so the whole point is is they can only do those things. So why not create buckets throughout the week? Give yourself the permission to kind of theme out your weeks. So let's say if you're selling a beauty product or, you're featuring something, maybe you are like, all right, you know what, I really want to get this point across, and you kind of break your content down. We have like a whole bunch of exercises that we can take people through, but it's important to take this time and to sit down. I even do a little timer. I put it on in 20 minutes at a time. For 20 minutes, I'll go, on different Facebook groups where my people are, and I'll look for hot topics, right? I'll go through and I'll look for pain points, things that people are talking about. I write them down. Okay. Then the next thing, I might go to Google and I'll think about it. If people are searching for what I have, let me type in, what would they type in? Okay. And then you can kind of start from an SEO standpoint where you really break down what people might be looking for. And then you can go to suggested, and so a bunch of different things you can do there. Great tip I heard the other day. Someone said that if you go to Pinterest, same thing. So let's say you have a certain product or a service that you have. Maybe it's a health and wellness or something. Type in the search bar in Pinterest, and it's going to give you a ton of ideas of what people are searching for. So you're going to come up with a lot of different things just by protecting that time and doing a few things where you can kind of dig in, and every month you can get some new content. But it's important that you protect that time.
So I want to talk to the multitasking parents that are on here, because again, not everyone works from home with uninterrupted time. Some people are homeschooling their kids full time. So here's my suggestion to those people. Everyone has to sleep, including your children. Some of them go to bed at 8, 8:30, 9, whatever time it is. Instead of watching Netflix or whatever you're doing to unwind, sit down for 30 minutes and start to plan out your content. You don't have to do it in a 2-hour direct stretch. If you want to split up that 2 hours over 3 or 4 nights, perfect. Because it's only 30 minutes of your time. You still can watch whatever show that you and your husband, wife, significant other are watching. But it's still giving you that uninterrupted time where you can do that brain dump, where you can plan out your content. And again, it could be all themed. I have some friends on here that are in skincare. As the winter months come, what does that bring? Dry air. What does dry air bring? Dry skin. So the theme of maybe November or December could be a month of hydration tips for your skin, whatever it is. You got to just brainstorm. You got to plan out your content if you're going to create it. So that's number one. Number two is, once you plan out the content, map out your content. So, Nancy, talk about the difference between planning and mapping when it comes to your content.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I remembered what those 5 buckets were, so I'm going to tell you in a second. So anyway, what mapping out your content looks like. So Scott walked into my office the other day, and I'm on Amazon, and I'm about to order a 96-inch wall calendar. I was like, wait, this isn't gonna work. He was like, what are you doing? And I had a tape measure, and I was trying to order a 12-month dry erase wall calendar. And I love to just see stuff, right? And there's much smaller ones available, which I've already ordered. But I love to see things visually, because when you see things visually, right, it takes it out of here and it gets it on there, right? And you can kind of see, you can plan, you can break it down. So what I recommend to people, at least at a quarter, right? Whenever you do these sit down meetings, put together a little calendar. Even the Post-it note creates kind of a monthly calendar thing that you can tear off the sheets and you can put it on your wall. But you can basically plan out a few months at a time. You can write down different holidays, right? You can map out different seasons, right, that might affect your business. I always say for health professionals, I'm like, man, around January, December, right, we all think about losing weight and resolutions. So anyway, there's different things that you can start to jot down based on, the certain time of the year. So that's one, mapping it out visually, right, on the wall. The other thing too, so I mentioned before, is content can only be 5 things. And I got it together, people. I wrote down the things that I was forgetting. So content is either entertaining, it's inspirational, it's educational, it's promotional, or it's engaging. Okay? And so a lot of people come to me and they're like, Nancy, what content bucket should I choose? Should I do Meal Prep Monday and da da da? I honestly, my rules of thumb are Motivational Monday. Okay? I don't call it Motivational Monday, but what I do is share something inspirational. Whether it's a story that you have in your heart that you want to get out there to the world, whether it's a video you watch, whether it's something that you want to share. Go ahead.
You guys need to understand how valuable it is of what Nancy's taking you guys through right now, because this is a look under the kimono of what she does with her clients. This is mapping out your content. So you wanna find out how you reduce overwhelm in your business. You want to find out how you reduce stress and anxiety. When you go through something what Nancy does with her clients and mapping things out, you're not overwhelmed anymore. You're literally
We have
seeing.
fun. We actually have fun.
So Motivation Monday.
Yeah, so back on that track, right? And I actually ran Scott through our program yesterday, and he was like, "Oh wow, we
Well,
have a full weeks of content."
she even
Like,
said to me, she goes, "Man, this is good.
well, it's
this
good
is."
because
She
like
goes, she always says you're spitting gold.
yeah, but that's the thing. So give yourself, right? And I challenge you whether you want to rewatch this or listen to it again, but write these down because, and I'm telling you this again, content can only be five things, right? Entertaining, inspirational, educational, promotional, and engaging. That's it. Like, I'm telling you, you don't have to go search through the hills and find other things. Like, that's it.
But do some market research. Look at what some of the people that you're following are doing, and then ask yourself, is this educational?
It falls into a bucket.
It's
one of
it's
those
going to be one of those
buckets,
five,
okay?
100%.
So my whole point is why not take some of that stress off yourself? I'm giving you permission to just focus, right? Like those five things, and that's what I tell my clients. I'm like, let's not reinvent the wheel. We don't have to be wild and crazy with what content we're creating, but let's get some structure to it so it's actually kind of fun because we can definitely break it down in this way. So again, Motivational Monday, as chinty as it sounds, you can still share so much. I love sharing some motivation for the week ahead, right? Whether it's, hey, some tips, to get you guys geared up. Maybe it's something I went through last week and like, something like that, right? The next thing is on Tuesdays, I always do tips and trust building. And guess what? That's educational, right? Go ahead.
Why trust?
Oh, trust. Yeah. You are selling something or you are working with people, right? You are the expert. You are the person that they're saying, you know what? There's a million people out there and they're noisy right now. But why am I talking to you? Why am I talking to you? So being that resource and sharing some of your genius and sharing some of those tips for what you do, for what you offer, for how you can work together with people, like those kinds of things you need to share. So, Scott, why don't you give us an example? So, let's say someone is doing a shake company, let's say. So, what are some tips or what are some things that they can talk about, obviously without being too salesy, but offering some really good advice to people?
So if you're that person that's in a health and wellness shake company, how to utilize, again, a great tip could be how healthy supplementation can save time for your morning routine. How many people wake up and they're in a mad dash to get in the shower, get dressed, get the kids off to either virtual school or real school, and then head to work? Well, if you give people the okay, you inform them that there are ways to healthy supplementation to not only fuel your body the right way when you wake up, but also give yourself that time where you're not feeling stressed, you're not feeling anxiety for the day, and you're not overwhelmed. It's going to actually lead you to having more sustained energy throughout the day. So giving people tips about the importance of starting your day off right, which could mean having a very healthy supplemental meal to benefit their morning.
Yeah, and guys, this video is a tips and trust building. We're sharing you some knowledge, right? We're educating. So just think of things those way. I mean, I even wrote down, it was funny, we were like planning out some stuff, for the Network Marketing Academy. And let's say you're, in the beauty industry and you have beauty products and things like that. That's where you could do a makeup tutorial. You could do some fun tips on A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Maybe it's a fun tip on how to apply, this before that or whatever. Anyway, the point is Tuesday can be your tips and trust building, right? So you got it in there. You've got your bucket, you're good to go. Now, Wednesdays, I always treat as Work It Wednesday. There is always something that you can work, right? It could be sharing a little behind the scenes about what you do, right? Giving people a little look in on your business and what you do. It could be sharing an opt-in that you have, a lead magnet, a freebie, a checklist, right? It could be something, it could be a special with your company. I know Scott talks about it all the time. You want to really give people so much value, and then that tiny little nugget is all for you to share about your opportunity. Use it on Work It Wednesdays, right? Let's keep it consistent. The other thing, did you want to add anything in there? No, we're good. Okay. So Thursday, when we talk about content being engaging, so Thursday, save it for those questions that you really want to ask your audience, right? And this is where I challenge you to show up. Go into your group, go onto your page. Where are you getting engagement? What are people saying? Go into other groups that have your audience in them. Ask your people questions. Get them engaging, get them talking, ask about their life. Nobody wants to go on someone's page and just see you. You, your cat, your dog, your kids, your family, your whatever. Like, no, like it's a community, right? So get your people engaging, get them to have a conversation. That's why I actually love sometimes, I mean, I really do respond really well to them when people say like, would you like this or that? They do polls. They ask questions. Yeah, do you do it too?
I'll give you one right now. And I guarantee, if you do that, I'm going to give you one for free. If you do this one, I guarantee you, your newsfeed will blow up.
Oh boy. All right, I got my pen.
At some point this month, so it's October, it's fall, it's Halloween. I don't care if you're an adult or a child, every single person has a favorite Halloween candy. Mine is Reese Peanut Butter Cups.
Oh my God, Reese Pieces.
Oh, Reese Pieces. Any of the Reese's.
Pieces, yeah.
So a great thing to do is to ask your network. This even goes back to trust building, because now you're building rapport with them. So at some point this month, I guarantee you, write a post and say, it's Halloween time. What is your favorite candy all time that you got while trick-or-treating? Or what's your kid's favorite candy that they get on trick-or-treating? I guarantee you, you will not have a problem getting responses. You're welcome.
Yeah, and I wanted to shout out.
I'm sorry, but it's as simple as that.
Yeah, no,
it doesn't have to always be business related.
I was going to say, someone posted the other day and it got a ton of responses. It was, someone had just bought an Instapot. And they were like, give me some recipes, people, whatever. It was like, shit, there was like...
We did that with the crock pot when we
did it too, yeah.
We said any crock pot recipes.
But it's like stuff I want to know, and other people want to know too. Like we had people following it, we had people, like tagging it and stuff like that. So the whole thing is just create content, especially on Thursdays, right? Engaging, right? Just have a conversation and don't be weird, all right? Don't be weird and don't just like make up stuff just 'cause you're like, oh, what time you wake up in the morning? No, like stop it. Like actually ask some cool questions. Like if you were standing in front of someone and you wanted to have a conversation and get to know them, because that's what you want to do. You want to get to know your people.
The one that I want to stop seeing is people, it resurfaces almost like Michael Bublé does during Christmas. I do like that when
yes.
So I always see people I always see people do this like every couple months, and it's this picture that has a lake house, a beach house, a mountain house.
Oh, I like that one.
I don't.
I like that one.
I don't. It's if you want to add, if you want to take it to
a realtor.
If you want to take it to another level, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? Asking a general question like that. Don't put people into a bucket where you're forcing them to choose one of four things. You can disagree with me. It's fine.
I just
But
think it's fun.
but I'm telling you, if you ask your audience, if you could live anywhere in the world right now, where would you want to live? And you're gonna get some creative answers. Or, what's your dream car? What like stuff like that.
Yeah. Do you know which one I really like, actually? And I posted this a while ago. If this year was a chapter in your book of life, what would you name it?
Ooh.
I like that one. Like, people came up with some pretty crazy stuff. Like, I mean, very deep.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
right. That's the coffee one.
the
What, like
coffee one is
the different
ridiculous.
color? Like, is your coffee A, B, C, or
Okay.
D? Is it
Yeah.
black, like
Yeah.
light? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, don't, again, set yourself apart. Like,
Yeah.
I
Don't like do
actually,
something different.
so I can't remember who it is, and you know what? Maybe I'll add it in this post later. But there is a woman. So I actually joined her group. It's a women's entrepreneurship group or something like that, and she actually posts really good questions on her Thursdays and on her engaging days. She doesn't always do it on Thursday. I'm just saying. But basically, it's like, what are you struggling with in your business right now? I'm going to do a training topic next month. What would you like to learn about? Like, certain things where it's like, oh, I want to put my plug in there because I want you to talk about that because it's a real problem that I face. So just hear your people, okay? And if you go to write the question and you're like, you know what, this is weird, don't put it out there, okay? So, yeah. All right, so we're on Thursday. Friday, guess what? Guys, by Wednesday, all right, people usually after Wednesday evening, they put their heads down. It's Thursday going into Friday. They've usually checked out for the mother flipping week. Okay. Like, they even say, do not promote stuff on Thursday and Friday because people have their little eyes glazed over and they're kind of like zombies going into the weekend. So don't post anything significant that you hope to get a big return on. So guess what I like to say Fridays for?
Fun Friday.
Feel Good Friday, right? Like, Friday, let's have fun. Let's just post stuff that we love. Let's be real. Let it out a little, okay? So, what that might look like, I actually have some clients, and again, I have templates for everything, but like, I have my clients. I'm like, what are some of your favorite recipes? What are things you love to do? What the hell are you doing this weekend? Sorry. But like, what are you doing? Like, get people excited, right? I love sharing music, right? Like, music's such a passion of mine, so I love to share what's on my playlist. But use Friday as a day to really just share something great. It could even be recapping some of the fun for the week. It could be gratitude. It could be sharing a really funny post. My accountant's really good at that. He shares some pretty,
Jeffy.
probably graded R, content. But he shares stuff that makes me laugh, like literally belly laugh sometimes. And that's what it's all about, right? So again, content can only do 5 things, right? And that's entertain, inspire, educate, promote, and engage. So why not just bucket them out and be able to map out your content in that way? And again, when we say map out content, put it up there, right? Get it in a project management board or get it on a calendar. Get it somewhere visual. Get it out of your brain and get it out there. And then just use the Monday through Friday, what I just talked about.
You're killing it.
I'm like, I hope this all makes sense. It's in my brain.
No, I mean, guys, this is so valuable. I mean, this is
Years of research.
yeah, 3 years and
Plus.
thousands of hours and talking to a lot of people.
Listening to a lot of podcasts. I've done it all. You don't have to listen to any. It's so funny. I hit my limit. I was like,
I'm done.
I know all the things.
So
Like-
so so here's the thing. Plan time to do it. You map out your content. Once your content is mapped out, the third and final step, spread your message in multiple ways. Your notifications are on?
Sorry.
They should be off. We're doing like
My apologies.
it's for them. Is it? Did you turn them off now?
No.
Turn them off
All right.
because that's the first of many dings.
Okay.
So now it's time to spread them around. And again, when you're looking at your beautiful content calendar and you're looking at your buckets and it's, Mondays and you have all these great things there. Now you can decide, where do I want them? Do I want to post to Facebook? Do I want to turn this one into a Facebook Live? Do I want to make this one an article on LinkedIn? Is this going to be a post for Instagram or part of my Instagram story? Once you have the content,
What? I'm waiting my turn.
just turn that over. Turn that, like, mine's upside down.
Sorry.
Like squirrel brain. once you have your content built out, then you have the flexibility and the ease to spread that message to multiple platforms, because if it's Feel Good Friday, that can be spread to multiple platforms. Everybody wants to feel good on Friday. It's not just Facebook, it's not just Instagram, it's not just LinkedIn or TikTok or wherever you are. So plan the time, map out the content, and then spread your message to as many people as possible.
Yeah. So this is kind of my passion project. I've actually loved to work smarter, not harder, but also have that time and focused, concentrated energy into creating what I call, well, and many others call, vehicle content. And so when Scott says spread your message in multiple ways, I still almost get a little anxiety where I'm like, but there's so much, right? So, the advice I definitely wanted to leave you guys with today is, right, we talked about putting on the calendar, right, some themes, some ideas, like breaking down your weeks, right? I even gave you content buckets, which is like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Well, I gave you that. Now, to make it even simpler for you guys, just pick one thing that you can write about, okay? And we'll call this a blog, we'll call it an article, okay? One thing that you can write about each week, okay? And it's going to be stuff. It could be a pain point that your client has. It could be something that you're very knowledgeable about. It could be something on your heart. Like I have a client, she's a network marketer. She actually writes about real stuff that's happening and she's had feedback lately. And I haven't told you this, but I mean, she's like, holy cow. Like people keep telling me that like they love what I'm writing and they're connecting with me on a whole nother level because she's literally writing truth. And of course, she'll share, a little bit about our opportunity on Wednesdays, especially, but she's connecting with people. And so the whole point of this is you're planning one piece of content, one pillar piece of content each week that you can kind of break down, right? And you can break down throughout the week and it can become other things. Your blog post could be a few paragraphs. I mean, I think Scott wrote a blog post on LinkedIn that was like a paragraph. So there's no rules, it's basically what you feel comfortable with you feel creating. I always say a blog post is something you kind of start with like a nice little intro, could be a little story, a little experience. You give 3 to 5 bullet points, maybe give them some like, hey, here are 3 tips to whatever, and you give them a nice conclusion right at the end. Keep it nice and simple. And the thing is now that you've created that pillar piece of content, you can create a LinkedIn article from it. You can actually shoot a Facebook Live video. I always tell people, like, if you don't want to use a teleprompter app, print it out and just refer to it as you're doing the live and just keep yourself on track. But you now have a blog post, you have a LinkedIn article, you now have a thing to follow to make sure that you know what to talk about on your Facebook Live. Because I'm not like Scott. I actually like to write stuff down. I've got notes here to keep me on track. But Scott can say really, like consistent with what he speaks about. But anyway, so you have those 3 things. And then from there, you can actually break it down even more to create the content throughout the week. So again, I like to work smarter and not harder. So we've already talked about how having to plan time to do this, right? You're planning out time to get out what's in here and down here and what's out there that your client wants down on paper, okay? We talked about mapping out your content, making it very visual, seeing how that breaks out, right? And now we're talking about spreading your message out in the best way possible. So if it helps, I think doing a workflow like this might be beneficial, which is you create the blog post, right? How many weeks are there in a month?
4.
4, just 4. If you can create 4 blog posts. It's funny, I was listening to an Amy Porterfield, and for those of you who don't know who she is, she's like an online marketer. She's
Amazing.
phenomenal. I love her podcasts, but I was listening to one of her podcasts the other day, and she said, guys, it is so important that you create your own content. She said, what?
I was thinking about this. No,
Like
and I was
like,
no, I was because I didn't want this
You
to
don't
go
wanna lose
too
it.
far because I didn't want to lose the thought. But
Got it.
as you were before you got into Amy Porterfield, I know what people are thinking right now.
What are they thinking?
They're thinking, can't I just hire someone to write my
Oh,
content
we
for
already
me?
talked about that.
No, but everybody wants to outsource certain things.
We started with that.
But what I was going to say was Amy Porterfield, Marie Forleo, who are two absolute titans in the industry right now. Both say you have to double down on creating your own content. And but everyone is so, they feel so overwhelmed, like just the thought of having to write a blog, they're like, I don't know where to start. Listen, there's a first for everything. The When you write that first blog, it's going to open up the floodgates.
Yeah, and I mean, just what I was like starting to say is no. So anyway, what I was starting to say is Amy Porterfield basically talked to one client who wasn't getting a lot of traction and had a lot of pushback and said, I'm not getting a lot of engagement, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, well, how much content are you producing? And they're like, oh, I do a podcast episode once a month. And she's like, oh, wow. Like what? You should be creating at least one piece of your own content a week. Can you hire out for certain things? Absolutely. Can you offer, have support in certain areas? Absolutely. But you need to show up for your audience. Why? Like, think about yourself. Would you invest in a person, a product, a service if you went on their page and you knew like all the stuff was copy and pasted? I think Betsy even said earlier, she wrote like, yeah, you can tell when people cut and paste and do all whatever. It's disingenuous. It's not authentic. I listened to a podcast episode by this guy. It was his 200th episode with Fraser Brooks. And one thing that Fraser said, and it's something we talk about all the time, is when you try to automate everything, and people always say, oh, it's a numbers game. It's not. Like, it's a connection game. You're not just trying to put a bunch of content, maybe one in every 100 content pieces stick. No. Like, let me go back to what I said whenever I first started, which is if you have nothing valuable to say, then don't say it at all. Period. It's better that you not post anything than you post garbage or you post filler content, right? I mean, actually, Facebook's algorithm frowns upon it, right? If you post garbage and nobody engages, nobody likes, you're not going to be showing up on people's pages as much because they're like, oh, this is garbage. I'm not going to show that garbage. Why would we do that? So think about that. But it's everything. Planning the time to do this, blocking that out, making it important because it is important. Your business is important. Your people are important. Help them know, like, and trust you. Help them out. That's it. There you go.
So here's the thing. There's times where I'll feel like, oh my God, it's been a certain amount of hours and I haven't put any content out there. And I'm like, you know what? I don't need to. Sometimes saying nothing is better than saying something. Don't just post just to post.
It's weird.
Yeah,
it's like when you're talking to, sorry, I'm getting fired up again, but I'm like, it's weird.
And I see it a lot in network marketing. Listen, your uplines, the people that are teaching, so they're not social media experts. They don't know shit. They don't. If you look, and Nancy and I always do a weekly check to see what of our content really resonated with our audience. What Instagram post really enticed people to really want to engage with us genuinely and authentically. Facebook, LinkedIn, same thing. All of these social media platforms, you don't have to try to figure out the algorithm. If you look at your engagement, even though engagement doesn't matter, but if you want to know that you're impacting people, look at the engagement of your posts. So I had a client earlier today. And again, the struggling with, I don't know what to put out there. I don't know what to say. And I said, listen, if you continue to put garbage out on social media, you can't expect to get anything back. And I said, here's what's going to happen. And I made the announcement that Authority Magazine wanted me to write a follow-up article to my first article from a couple months ago. And I love sharing my victories with my audience because my success is actually your success. We would not be where we are without all of you. So I'm not going to hold anything that I'm achieving or we're accomplishing not from you. So I always like to share victories in my life because it feels good. And I knew as soon, and I said this to my client, I said, I'm going to announce a little bit later that I'm going to be writing another article for Authority Magazine. And I guarantee you that my audience is going to feel good about that. And they're going to let me know. And they have. Nothing. It doesn't always have to be about your network marketing business or your product. People just want to hear about you. People get so wrapped up in this comparison game. And this is what drives me nuts. Like, this is what I have a love-hate relationship with social media because most of it's fake. Most of it's complete horseshit.
Yeah.
The lot, like, Instagram is the fucking worst. It is the motherfucking worst.
You're dropping some F-bombs.
I am.
Beep.
It is the fakest platform I have ever seen in my entire life. Nancy and I will construct and really put out a good, thoughtful post, and it sounds like the cicadas in our backyard. Nothing. And then you see someone with their tits falling out of their shirt.
You said the T word.
I did. And their butts hanging out. And it just blows. Oh, my God. Remember?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah. And I showed you. We saw a post on Instagram the other day of this yoga. I don't even know what she is. She's like a yoga influencer. The most blatant camel toe picture.
It's true.
You will.
It's on purpose.
I was scrolling through and I said, Nancy, look, and she goes, camel toe. Like immediately
well, hello there.
The post and it brought all this weird engagement. Someone's like, Taco Tuesday came early, and people just were putting like camel emojis, and it got like 35,000 likes.
Scott was losing his mind.
Losing my mind. And I'm like, this is what people want to see?
I was like, that's good marketing.
People want to see people's camel toes?
It's like, oops. Scott
was like, really bad.
Beside himself. He's like, look at this.
Well, it drives me crazy because it's not genuine. It's not real.
It's for fakes. It's not for reals. No?
What I want you guys to really focus on is everything that Nancy said. Besides the camel toe. Don't post camel toe pictures just for engagement.
Right.
No, but plan your stuff out. Map it out. Spread it. But do as Nancy said. Like, write down all the different themes. The more planned out you are, the more structured you are, the easier it's going to be to grow your business, to your brand, and to really impact those people. Nancy, why don't you take us home?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm going to let you close this out.
All right. So, it's funny. He made me, when we first started, to sit back here because I like to bang on the table. I get all excited. All right. So, to leave you guys, one, plan the time to do this. There are no excuses. Do not let next month roll in literally it's going to be here before you know it.
If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
I want you to go into your phone right now, okay? Go into your little calendar app or whatever you got, and I want you to look at next week. Guess what? We are oh my God, October. I cannot believe it.
Halfway through.
I want you next week. It could be even next Friday or next Sunday. Not this coming, but next, okay? So let's look at, we can do the 18th. And I want you guys to plan in your calendar and block off some time to plan your content for November. Okay? And I want you to get your little calendar. If you got a little, in fact, if you don't have one, Scott's a huge advocate of what brand of planner? What are you, the Sky?
Oh, Blue Sky.
Yeah, the Blue Sky planner where you can actually see your month and everything. So anyway, get out that calendar and plan next month, okay? The next thing I want you to do is map out your content. So when you're planning on that calendar, break it down into the buckets. Like we said, right? You know, You've got your entertaining posts. You got your inspirational, your educational, your promotional, and your engaging. Sorry, I'm pulling up screen. And you can rewatch this video because I dove real deep into that. And then 3, spread your message in multiple ways. So just think about your workflow. What are you going to do? I just gave you one, which is you're going to plan out your content and you can write 1 blog post a week, right? Because that blog post can be turned into a LinkedIn article, can be turned into multiple pieces of content that could be spread across Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest and all kinds of other places. And you can also eventually turn it into much more in the future because it's your content that you created.
And how can people find out more about BYOB Agency, Nancy?
If that sounds so overwhelming and you need a lot more help with, no, I'm just kidding. If that does sound overwhelming and you just need a buddy, a partner in crime, someone to help you out, that's why we created BYOB Agency, which is, Scott and myself. We have strategy sessions. We actually help you break out content. We do a content planning session together with you. We give our clients tender, loving care, and it's a collaboration, and we love it. So if you want to be a part of it, go to www.byobagency.com and schedule a call.
Awesome. Guys, we hope you enjoyed this 45-minute.
Sorry, I got carried away.
No, it was good. Everything happens for a purpose, and you guys needed this. And just grateful for all the people that stayed on here till the end. And for those that are on the replay, you can use the hashtag replay. Grateful that you guys came on. And remember, no camel toes. Guys, enjoy the rest of your night, and we'll talk to you next time.